Great news. Dirty Keto is now on Amazon. If you're living in the U.S., go straight to Amazon and get Dirty Keto. Watch it, rate it, and review it. If you're outside of the U.S., meaning Western Europe or Canada or Mexico, it's not there yet. Don't ask me why. Listen, those people made me put a PG-13 rating on it when there was nothing in it that would have caused that. But let's get ahead of this thing. Let's watch it, rate it, and review it. Go get Dirty Keto right now, and on with the show.
Thanks for listening to Vinny Tortorich on NSNG Lifestyle Audio. From Los Angeles, California, this is the Fitness Confidential Podcast with Vinny Tortorich, founder of NSNG, and his co-host, Anna Vicino.
Don't worry, I'm here to help you get them back. You may be self-destructing at the beginning of this process, but that's okay. Hang in there. Before long, you'll be lean and mean, guaranteed. Waiting on a Sunday afternoon for what I read between the lines. The lines. Like a hand in rusted chain. So do you laugh or does it cry? Yeah, Anna. I'm rocking out today. Yeah. You recognize that one, Anna? You got that one?
Was that what is that Pearl Jam?
Close enough. Stone Temple Pilot. That's
Stone Temple Pilots. God damn it.
Yeah, that's adjacent. Yeah.
I knew it wasn't Pearl Jam, but that's the best I could come up with in my brain that can't remember things anymore.
Yeah. Look, it's the same era, it's the same group.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
That's a good tune.
Yeah. Interstate Love Song. You want to hear a little more, Anna? A little something? Because we're going to get into. Here we go. Let's hear this. You ready? Yeah, Interstate Love Song. There you have it. Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
How are we doing today, Vin?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. As you know, I've been going through hell and back.
Yeah.
And the other day I said, who's Helen? Because I go to Helen and back every day.
Helen, Georgia?
Yeah, Helen back.
Helen back.
Every day. That's okay. I'm figuring out how to rebuild my little companies and doing all that. But that's not what we're talking about here today, Anna. We're talking about a one.
We have to complete the assignment.
Mm-hmm. I'm staying on track here, Anna.
Yeah, something that we're not necessarily known for is completing the assignment when it comes to the podcast.
But you know what? I want to start doing more of that because it turns out that's what the people want.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm going to start doing more staying on topic.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
I'm here for it.
At least I'm going to try.
We're going to try our best. Here's the deal, though. I will say this. Mm-hmm. You and I have been at this a very long time.
Yeah.
We've repeated the same information over and over again, and that's okay. We're happy to do that. It's just that sometimes we have to change it up with a little bit of what the kids call infotainment.
Can I say this?
You can Anna, say whatever the fuck you want.
A lot of people who started in this space the same time we did, or after us a little bit and the whole thing, and they were talking low carb and how to do it right and the whole thing, they've all moved on, which means they were just Me Tooers, right? I call those people Me Tooers. Whereas like, oh yeah, me too, I'm into low carb. Most of them are not here anymore, right? A lot of them are gone.
Yeah.
And Some of them are telling people to do completely different things, and most of them have started these big things where, hey, pay me $1,000 and I'll teach you how to lose weight. They've all gone down that stupid road of doing that whole thing.
That's bonkers.
Yeah,
but,
does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about, but I'm blown away. I'm blown away by that. When anybody wants to sweat me about pricing a premium pasta sauce, maybe it's a little bit higher than, let's say, the Pregos and Ragus of the world. Not a little bit. It is higher. And, but then I'm like, yeah, but these other jagweeds, nobody bats an eye and they pay them $1,000 for their stupid keto course that is mostly monk fruit. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't surprise me.
I'm writing. I'm working here while I'm talking to you without me asking. Okay. Sorry.
Oh boy. He's sending a contextual message. I wouldn't want to be the recipient of that one.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to get back to NSNG 101 because we didn't complete the whole thing because we talked about a lot of why. We talked about a lot of like the what's been happening in food manufacturing over the years to set us up for this terrible place that we're in with obesity, sugar addiction, grain addiction, processed food addiction, and how Vinny and I are working hard, Vinny especially, to get people to reset their jets and get off this crazy train. So we talked a lot about why and the philosophical reason and then what actually happened. But now we're talking about the what. And we began to talk about the what at the end of the last episode. But now we need to cover meat, veg, fruit, nuts, dairy. We talked about fats before.
Here's the thing, Anna.
Yeah.
I've said this in a couple of my documentaries. I say it here all the time. If you're new to this podcast, no one is coming to save you. No one.
So good.
The government is not coming to save you.
Nope.
There's no group or organization who's coming to save you. You're on your own, right? You want to make these changes, you have to make these changes on your own.
That's right.
Oh, wait, we got one for Debbie early in the show here.
Ooh.
Get my glasses off.
Do it.
When it comes to losing weight, no one is coming to save you. No one. Don't expect the government to come, your friends. Oh, yeah, other people are going to want to sell you things. Hey, pay me $1,000. I'll show you how to do it. No one is coming to save you. You have to save you. That's the only way it's going to happen. I could give you all the free advice in the world, but if you don't take that free advice and run with it, nothing's going to happen. All right. Stay motivated. Use that, Debbie. All right, I'm back. But I'm being serious about this.
No, absolutely.
You have to come to grips with, we talk a lot about the Scott Kings of the world and people like Robin Dobbins, who had some. She talks about it openly and freely. Mental issues. People like Mimi Morgan, who the doctors just left her for dead. Parkinson's disease, the whole deal. She had all kinds of problems. They left this woman for dead. Go look at her today. Go find Mimi Morgan on Instagram or Twitter. These are people who grabbed their bootstraps and said, you know what? I'm not dying. Not on this hill. Not today. Come get me another day.
I'm going to tell a really quick anecdotal thing that happened this morning at my house.
Sure.
Jessica, who cleans my house, but she doesn't always come because she's building a business and she's really smart and she's getting other ladies to clean for her. And sometimes it's Joanna, but Jessica came today and I was glad to see Jessica and I was catching up with Jessica and she apologized to me for one time she had forgotten to come clean the house and I just texted her and said, hey, just checking in. Are you coming? You're going to make it. And she apologized to me for not being able to make it. And I was like, it's okay. Like, big deal. My house isn't going to clean one day. Who cares?
Yeah.
And she said I was dealing with my daughter's epilepsy. And so we talked about that. And I was like, first of all, did the doctors, she was telling me she's on a good medication right now. It's helping, and her daughter's 10. It's helping keep it under control. And she said, but it's not totally there. And she's 10 right now, and that's fine. But when she's 16, she's going to want to get her driver's license. When she's, you know what I mean? Sure. She's going to want to be a fully functioning person in the world. And I said, did the doctors ever say anything to you about making any dietary changes? And she said, no, not a single word.
Yeah.
And I was like, interesting. I said, because here's the deal. And I started talking about your movie, Fat, a documentary. Mm-hmm. I started talking about
Charlie Foundation, hopefully.
The Charlie Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, they've come to find out that with, the brain does better if in certain people, most people, I would say, but the brain does better, especially with a brain that's epileptic, without so much sugar. And she said to me, when her daughter
Anna froze up right on the important part. Isn't that the way it goes, folks? Let's see. There you are, Anna. I can hear you now. I lost you.
Of course, I froze. Of course, I froze at the most important time.
You said your daughter.
She said when her daughter has a Starbucks drink or a boba tea, she has seizures.
Yeah,
more seizures. Yeah, and
this is you're seeing how today is going for me right now. You're getting a good glimpse at how my whole day has been. Oh, there she is. Are you back, Anna? Mm-hmm. Anna? She's frozen again. This is just the way my day has gone. Anna, now I can see you. I can see your face moving. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know why it keeps freezing.
Me either. You're all pixelated over there and everything else.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right. So Anna's going to go away and try to pop back on. While she's doing that, I'll tell you guys about Villa Capelli. We'll get the ad out of the way, and then we could just give you guys the 101 the way we meant to. So Villa Capelli Olive Oil is the longest-running sponsor of this show, and there's a reason for that. Not all olive oils are created equally, and that's what we were just talking about just a second ago. Where it's like, you have to advocate for yourself, and Villa Capelli Olive Oil is advocating for yourself. Right? We went out and vetted this company, Villa Capelli. They don't have any seed oils. I know you're thinking, come on, Vinny, olive oil? Yes, think about it. If you go buy the best Bertolli's or whatever, it could be up to 40% seed oils, and they're able to put on the label, per the rules set forth by the FDA, that it's 100% pure olive oil. I couldn't make this up. You think I'm kidding? People always think I'm making that up for the ad. Go look it up for yourself. You're going to be shocked. There's a lot that will shock you about the FDA and what we're allowed to do. You want pure 100% olive oil, get Villa Capelli. Let them know we sent you. Put in promo code Vinnie, VINNIE. You'll get 10% off every time. Villa Capelli, promo code Vinnie, VINNIE, 10% every single time. Anna, I want to hear the end of the story.
The end of the story is basically advocating for yourself. And listen, you and I both think similarly. We don't want to push our agenda into people's spaces who aren't receptive to hear it. We're here to offer the information to people who are seeking the information.
Right. Correct.
And so when I'm talking to Jessica this morning about her daughter, and that's how I decided to broach it, was just asking. And I loved that she said, we already have seen the evidence of when she has the sugary drinks, she has more seizures. And I went into the closet and gave her the books, and I was like, here's some books. They may or may not, I don't care if they work for you or not, but just to start down the path.
Right.
And I'm going to text her the link to Fat, a documentary as well, because I want her to see the Charlie Foundation. I want her to see that. Now, you may be listening to this new, like, I don't care about epilepsy. My kids don't have, I don't care about that. But that's just one medical issue that is improved by cutting out the processed sugars and grains.
And Anna, you said one thing that wasn't completely right. You said they've come to learn. This was the way that they cured epilepsy in the 1920s, over 100 years ago.
100 years ago. And they would have treated your daughter this way.
Yeah, and it worked like a charm.
Now they don't even mention diet.
Yeah. Because, hey, why tell a kid, hey, you can't have pizza and ice cream. Eat all the pizza and ice cream you want. Just go take all this medication. And by the way, you're going, oh, come on, Vinny. Come on. Why can't a kid have pizza and ice cream? Well, here's the deal. My friend has been on these drugs his entire life. He had brain surgery when we were very young, maybe 10, 11 years old, Moose Shaheen. And Moose has had grand mal seizures after grand mal seizures his entire life. He was never able to hold down a job, so he worked in his family's business. They had a department store in Donaldsonville. When all the other kids were leaving and going off and having a life and a wife and kids and the whole thing, Moose still lives in the house, in the same bedroom that he lived in when we were kids. Both of his parents are dead now, and Moose now they bequeathed the house to him, right? So he has that house now. Moose has never left that house or Donaldsonville or has had a regular relationship. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. Never a real job.
Because the epilepsy has affected his life so much.
If he wanted to go out with the guys on the weekends in Baton Rouge, someone would have to drive to Donaldsonville and pick him up. He cannot drive because he's on phenobarbital and all these other drugs that keeps him, like, his reaction time is very slow, right?
Right.
So Moose, because of these drugs, and by the way, all these heavy drugs that keeps him sedated his entire life, still grand mal seizures. And never once would listen to his pal Vinny. Not once. And when people go, Vinny, why are you so passionate? What? Well, Moose is one of the reasons. And I have family members that are morbidly obese and everything else. I have skin in the game with family and friends. And, I have an answer, but guess what? I'm crazy as Vinny who just spends his time in a gym. So what could I possibly know? Well, I'll tell you what I know. I know that people should be eating meat. And I know that people should be eating vegetables. I know people should be eating animal protein like eggs and milk and what have you. One ingredient foods. Let's get into it, Anna.
All right, let's start with eggs.
Eggs.
And then we'll get to meat, and then we'll get to dairy. I'm
going to name drop here. I was just talking to my good buddy, Chuck Klausmeyer. We've become actual friends now. Chuck That's and I. Chuck has a thing that if he texts me and I text back and he has to text me back again and I have to text him back again, on the third text, he picks up the phone and call.
Yeah.
I like that rule.
I like that too.
If we got to keep going back and forth, time to get on the phone, right? And Chuck was asking me about eating in the evening because Chuck is a very busy man, right? Yeah. He's the producer for all things Mike Rowe. And, by the way, Mike has been following along too. Let me name drop a little bit. They're both following NSNG and low carb, and they're both doing fabulously. And he was like, hey, man, sometimes at night I'm tired. He's a bachelor. He sleeps at the studio, right? Because he lives in the valley. I don't know if you know this, but they put a bed in their studio. And Chuck will use it, and Mike will use it. They put a shower and a bathroom there and everything else at the studio because sometimes they can't get back to their house because they work late, right? So it's great, right? So he was like, sometimes, and they have a little kitchenette at the studio. There's a little stove and a little microwave. It would be
so fun to go stock up that kitchenette with NSNG.
They got a small fridge. You know what, Anna?
Oh.
If you
ever have a little stove to heat things up?
Anna, we need to get you on that show. You just walk in with the groceries.
Yeah.
They love those two guys.
Hero.
Those guys love a gift. I brought them both some scotch. They're still talking about it. They love the scotch. Awesome. You walk in with groceries and stock that fridge. Boom. I need to get you on that show.
I'll have them ready to go.
All right, hashtag get Anna on the Mike Rowe show.
That's
all right, so here's the thing.
Great.
Yeah, but don't. Hey, Robin, don't go start hashtagging that. Don't bother those people. Anna could blow in the call and get it to happen. So Chuck was like, eggs, man. He goes, what can I eat at night? Sometimes I don't have time to go get meat and the whole thing. I say, Chuck, if you have eggs in the fridge for the morning, have them at night again.
Yeah, have some eggs.
I get it. It gets a little boring, but you're just stuck there for one night. Right. And why go eat something bad in Santa Monica? They're in Santa Monica. You walk out of that door, you're right near the 3rd Street Promenade. Nothing good is going to happen there.
Right.
I would like to say the 3rd Street Promenade is like strip joints and stuff. No, it's a bunch of candy and junk and crap.
It's like tourist food.
Yeah, it's seed oils and what have you.
It's like funnel cake, but like high end. They'll have a funnel cake that'll be $30 and it'll be, high end vegan funnel cake just full of preservatives and crappy ingredients.
Yeah. So don't do that. So it's like, and he goes, I can have eggs at night. It's like, Chuck, why can't you? I do eggs a lot at night. I'm going to tell you tonight, there's a little leftover chili.
Yep.
Right? I'm going to do a couple of over easies and do the chili. Check this out. Put a little dollop of chili on the plate. Mm-hmm. Fresh white onions on that.
Yes.
And put 2 eggs on top of that. Come on.
Done.
Come on. Does it get better than me? I'm the best tonight, right?
Yeah.
And folks, you're going that way. That's legal. You can do chili and eggs. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, your chili is just meat and sauce.
Yeah.
And seasoning.
I make the Anna chili, so it's good. And here's the other thing you can do. You might go, Vin, I don't like to put the runny eggs on top. Okay, here's what you do. You whip up 3-4 eggs, make yourself an omelet.
Yeah.
Put a little cheese and chili on the inside, flip it over.
Just right in there.
Yeah, just flip it like a flapjack on top of each
hot pocket.
Boom. Come on.
An omelet is basically the original Hot Pocket.
Yeah. Or, you got some prosciutto in the fridge. You got some cheese.
Which you should.
Boom. Omelet. Nothing better at night. Animal protein. Go on, Anna.
So let's talk about meat then. And then I'm going to go through this shopping list. Because when you brought up prosciutto, the thing is that I'm going to just read this whole list of meat. It's exhaustive, but I'm sure I'm forgetting something. When we're talking about things like prosciutto and salami and bacon, mm-hmm. I know bacon is a very popular food when people first go low carb because it's filling, it's comforting, you feel like you're treating yourself. But then you read all the studies online about, well, if I have processed meats and cured meats, it's going to increase the colon cancer risk, or whatever they're saying, whichever carcinogenic thing. And I know what you're going to say, but I'm just saying definitely buy bacon, definitely buy salami and prosciutto, because you will use salami and prosciutto as basically flavor enhancers in a lot of different things. Sure, you can have it as a snack, but you'd be surprised at how just a little bit of chopped up salami or prosciutto added to things like meatballs or vegetables really gives it a delicious flavor. Do you want to address the bacon thing? And then I'll read this exhaustive meat list to give ideas to people about what to grocery shop for. Bacon is the most confusing thing we talk about when it comes to cured meats. I am not a big fan of big bacon. Right. I'll tell you what I mean. If it's got Oscar Mayer on the label. Right. If it's got Jimmy Dean on the label. If it's got okay. Make it easy. If it's prepackaged and it's in the bin, in the ice bin over in the grocery store, that's all, they got to put a lot of extra sugar in that. They got to put some preservatives. It's gummied up pretty good. Now, if it's something you did once in a while, not a big deal. But if you're doing that every day, there's a lot of extra crap in that. So what kind of bacon do you want to get? Well, when I used to live over in Woodland Hills, we had Jim's Fallbrook Market, maybe the best bacon in the world. They would cut it like an eighth of an inch, maybe an eighth or a 16th. It was thick. Mm-hmm. And they cured it right there. It was fresh bacon. They cured it without any sugar, too. And you got to go, well, Vinny, is that like a no, if you go to a real butcher, you can get bacon that they cure right there on the premise, and they slice it for you any thickness that you want, right? That's what you want. That's real bacon. And once you have that, you will wonder how you ever had any of the other stuff. That's true. And let me address the curing of bacon, how it's done. Mm-hmm. You take a big side of pork belly, which is basically uncut bacon, that big flat swath. Big slab, yeah. The big slab. And they cut off the top part that has the skin. They cut that off. And then they pack it in usually some smoky salts or just regular salt or a combination mass marketed, they do a combination of sugar and salt or salt and dextrose.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll either put it over a smoker or they'll infuse it with liquid smoke. They'll do all kinds of things to smoke the bacon. Sometimes it's actual smoking the bacon. Other times it's fake smoking the bacon.
That's correct.
You don't know. So then when it's all ready and they've done that for a certain amount of time, they'll scrape all that stuff off and slice the bacon, put it in the package, send it to the grocery store to sell to us. So when you see on the label dextrose or sugar, but it says 0 grams, that's what they're counting, because technically there's some residual stuff left on the bacon.
So they have to tell you what's going in your body, so they have to put it. Now, here's the deal. People ask me when it comes to bacon, and this is for all, I guess you could say, luncheon type meats or deli meats or whatever. They ask me about the nitrites and nitrates.
The boar's heads, the turkey, roast beef, ham. Yeah.
All of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a nitrate or a nitrate? Sounds like I'm saying the same word twice. Trice.
Trite.
One
You're
is
being trite.
N-I-T-R-I-T-E, and the other one is N-I-T-R-A-T-E. Nitrates. They're both very similar in molecular structure. And the vegans will tell you, the vegan overlords will tell you that nitrates are going to kill you. They're not good for you, and bacon is full of nitrates. Don't eat bacon. Well, guess what?
Guess what has more nitrates than bacon?
Well, not only that, we need nitrates. It's something our body utilizes. We use nitrates in our body, right, to create energy. Nitrates are used. And guess where we find them? Anna, you want to tell them, or you want me to tell them?
Vegetables.
Yeah, and vegetables like
celery.
Yeah, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, full of nitrates, right?
Yep.
Now, they will tell you that those nitrates are somehow magically better and are the good nitrates. Folks, I grew up in the science world. There are not two types of nitrates and nitrites. They are what they are. Molecularly, they are what they are. If they were somehow different, they would be called something different. That's like saying, this is oxygen. But wait,
this is the good kind of oxygen.
This is the good oxygen versus the bad oxygen. Is oxygen. The molecular structure is what it is, right? The compound is what it is. That's it. So that's bullshit. You've been lied to. So, and when you look at it, most cured meats are going to have some form of dextrose or sugar to cure it. Is it something that I eat? Seldomly. Do I cut it out completely? No. And here's why. If I'm stuck in a bind, if I'm in a bind and that's all there is to eat, I'm at my brother's camp out on the bayou, out in the swamp, right? And we stop at a grocery store on the way there, and everyone else is buying fried chicken and all this kind of stuff, and I know they're going to fry fish that night. I'm going to pick up some pastrami. I'm going to get some fresh pastrami sliced. I'm going to get myself some capricola, some gabagool, whatever they might have, right? And I'll buy cheeses, the best cheeses they have, so that I have something to eat while I'm out in the swamp. I'm just giving you one situation where I might have to do that.
It's crazy that you wouldn't just bring one of these ultrafats with you.
I bring a lot of ultrafats with me, but let's be honest. I don't want to just sit there and eat my ultrafats, even though, they cost me less than everyone else. It's not the price. It's hey, it's breakfast time. Where's the ultrafat? Hey, it's lunch. Where's the ultrafat? At some point, I want to eat something different, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere, right? So there you have it.
So this is good. So then real quick, give the little primer about how you would prefer for people to lean towards fattier cuts of meat and why, and then I will read the shopping list.
Okay, let's talk about fat. You've heard different words surrounding the word fat. You've heard polyunsaturated fat. You've heard monounsaturated fat. You've heard saturated fat. That's supposed to be the one that's bad for you.
Trans fat.
So hang on, Anna. I'm going to get to that. Anna's getting ahead of herself. You calm down over there, girl. Look, she gets a little excited, folks. Yes.
I do.
Yeah. So saturated fats are good for you, right? They've been demonized. They want you to believe that they're artery clogging fats. They want you to believe that if you ate saturated fats, that somehow your LDLs, which they claim are the bad cholesterols, which there's no truth behind that. We should do, Anna, write this down in weeks to come. I want to do the cholesterol 101. Great. And I might do it I might not do it with Anna. I might get like Ben Bickman or somebody on a Friday show to do a cholesterol 101, or maybe Lustig, or see, I just had Eric Westman on. I'll find a good doctor to do the cholesterol talk, or maybe Anna and I will do it. But I like when I get a doctor on, because then, I have a doctor saying it, right? Yep. So they want you to believe that somehow when you eat saturated fat, that your cholesterol goes up. Case in point, coconut oil is a saturated fat. Mm-hmm. Now, any kind of fruit or vegetable fat does not contain cholesterol in it whatsoever. So coconut oil is a saturated fat, yet it has zero cholesterol in it. But according to Walter Willett over at Harvard and some of these doctors who are willing to lie for a living, even if you eat coconut oil, which is a saturated fat, you will somehow magically get higher LDL cholesterol. I don't know how that works, right?
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes less than 0 sense. So yes, coconut oil, which is a fruit oil, has as much saturated fat as, say, a steak. One is an animal protein, the other they're both saturated fats. Okay. Neither one of those will cause a cholesterol problem. Now, animal protein also has the fatty acid cholesterol in many different forms. And we need cholesterol to live. Let me tell you how important cholesterol is.
Great.
If you don't take cholesterol, your body will make it. Go look up a guy named Dave Feldman. Go look up a guy named Ivor Cummins. These guys have figured out, Dave has now done big time studies, and there's another study called the Oreo study where they used Oreos to fictitiously lower your cholesterol. Cholesterol high or low does not really make a difference. It's something it's something you'll learn about on this podcast as you go. The bottom line is eating saturated fats they're not unhealthy for your heart. As a matter of fact, they're heart healthy. The American Heart Association has come around to some degree saying that butter isn't bad. You can have steak now. Things that they were completely against a few years ago, they're finally turning around and saying these things in moderation are good. The reason they're saying moderation is because they can't do a complete 180, because if they do that, they're telling you that they killed a lot of people for a lot of years, and they're not willing to admit that. It'd be too many lawsuits. So are there any bad fats? Yes, there are. And Anna got to it just a few minutes ago. Those are trans fats, right? You mean the ones made in food manufacturing facilities that don't exist in nature? No, I'm talking about the ones that used to identify as polyunsaturated, but they became trans. Never mind. That's a bad joke. Trans fats are, they're made. Anna's correct. They're made. Whole cloth. And the reason they're made is because certain foods need to have more of a solid fat in them, right? Like if you make like a chocolate bar or something like this, or any kind of junk food. Let me
actually speak to this.
Okay.
Trans fats were made to be a cheaper alternative to butter.
Yes.
And more shelf stable.
Very shelf stable.
Very shelf stable. So shelf stable, it will we will all be dead, and the trans fat thing of Crisco, the first Crisco ever made, will still be on a shelf.
That's
Well,
right.
we're all long gone.
If you look at products such as like a Twinkie, I think is one of them.
Exactly.
Where
Any
you
baked good where they need that that fat in there to help bind and marry the flavors and keep it shelf stable and make it nice and cakey. It's chemical. It's a chemical thing when you bake something.
Right.
And so these trans fats keep it from butter turns rancid. Like any fat, it turns rancid or flabby, or, you don't want to leave the butter out for too long on a shelf.
Sure.
What happens when you put your butter on the shelf? I know some people leave their butter out forever, but you wouldn't if you lived in a hot climate where it was getting moldy and rancid.
That's correct. When you go to England, they just leave it out on the counter because the houses never get warm. Right. So it's like being in a refrigerator no matter what. Right.
Right.
So trans fats are made because they're stable. And basically what they're doing is they're taking a fatty acid and they hydrogenate it. And boy, it really turns it into this gook, something that's not meant for the human body, right? On top of that, we used to put beef tallow in fryers. So if you went to McDonald's back in the 1970s or early 80s, they had beef tallow in the fryers, right? Yep. Beef tallow holds up a lot better. Beef tallow is just animal fat, beef fat. That holds up a lot better. But when you put seed oils in there and you heat it up to make fries, and they don't change that oil every day, they let it go for several days, right? And they keep it gets cold at night. They reheat it. They literally weaponize this fat by heating it and cooling it, heating it and cooling it. So when you eat French fries or anything
the molecules every time that happens.
You're eating a carcinogen. If you eat a French fry from anywhere or fried foods of any sort from any fast food, that's why I tell people just stay the hell away from fast food restaurants, because anything in there that goes through a fryer is killing you. It's literally rusting your brain and every cell in your body. It's not good for you. I know I sound like I need a tinfoil hat at this point, but I'm not making this up.
No,
I have no reason to lie.
Well, we talked about seed oils in the last episode, and now we're talking about the different kinds of fat. This is where I think there's some confusion. So will you explain why the seed oils are bad? Because they're not trans fats.
Okay, so seed oils in and of themselves. All right, I'll give an example. People will say to me, well, Vinny, you said I can eat sunflower seeds, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why can't I have sunflower seed oil? Well, because the expeller process of doing that, they can't just crush it. Well, they could, but it's just not, they can't make enough fast enough. So there's a chemical process to pull the fat, the oil out of these seeds.
Right.
And it turns it into this frankenfood, right? The same thing with rape seeds. They take the rape seed and they do this expeller process where they add chemicals in order
They have to add the chemicals too, or else it would be toxic if you ate it. It would kill you if you ate it without the chemical processes that they do.
Yeah. So any of it, any cottonseed oil, any of it that comes from any of these situations, it's bad for you. So you're going to go, well, wait a minute. Is it all oils? No. Avocado oil is really good for you. If you remember, we did an olive oil ad at the beginning of the show. That's very good for you, right? So there are good oils out there. Okay. But those, if it comes from, say, a stone fruit, like an avocado or an olive, those are good. If it comes from a seed, not good. That's why we call them seed oils. So you're going to ask, well, wait, what about mazola? That's corn oil. Same thing. Same problem. Bad for you. So go on.
I want to give just one piece of clarification on the seed oil thing.
Sure.
People do ask about sesame oil. This is different. And they've started to put cold pressed on the sesame oil. They're taking sesame seeds, cold pressing them like they do olive oil or avocado oil. And if you ever make a recipe that has sesame oil, it's so strongly flavored, you only use a tiny bit in that recipe, but it's okay. That's not the seed oil we're talking about.
And also they do it with peanut oil too, right? They can do a cold press, unrefined on a peanut oil.
Sure can.
So there are ways that they can do it, but for the most part, stay away from seed oils and you'll be okay. If you want to read a great book, go read Kate Shanahan's latest book called what, Anna? Hateful?
Dark Calories.
Dark Calories. And she talks about the Hateful Eight, and it's the 8 oils you should never touch. By the way, most of these oils, and I'm not being funny here, if you have a gun or a sewing machine, it's the same quality oil that you would use as a gun oil or a sewing machine oil. And you go, oh, come on, Vinny, you're being an asshole. No, I'm not. The only difference between a seed oil that you put in your body and the one that you put into a sewing machine is that they add an odor to the one for the sewing machine so that you can know that it's supposed to be an industrial grade oil.
Right.
But don't eat any of it. It's all bad for you.
But I mean, they do that so that you don't accidentally eat the wrong oil.
Right.
So that it's industrial. So let me read this shopping list. I'm going to cover meats right now.
Okay, go on.
Beef, ground beef, preferably grass-fed if you can find it. If not, I want to say this disclaimer that I always say. Buy the best quality of anything that you can afford, that's available to you. If you can't afford it and it's not available to you, you have to make do with what you have. So I say this list with it being aspirational and one day attainable. Let's put it that way, right? Because I've been to grocery stores all over this country. Some places, y'all don't have access to the same things as in other places. So you got to make do. We always say support your local rancher, support your local farm stands. Make sure you're going out to farmers markets if you have one near you. There's a lot that can be done. Ordered online. So Let me just read the list, because the thing that drives me nuts is people are like, oh, I bet you can afford grass-fed beef. I'm like, no, yeah, sometimes, and then other times I can't, and I don't buy it. Both
Anna and I are empty nesters, and but we still can't. The food prices nowadays, I cannot afford all the high-end stuff. It's just nuts. When you get one bag of groceries, it's like $100. It's crazy. So go on, Anna.
Yeah. Okay. Ground beef, grass-fed if you can, if not, whatever. 85-15, that's the fat content, or highest fat count possible. Buy a few of these. Have them on hand. Throw them in the freezer, especially when they're on sale. Burgers, meatloaf, meatballs. Get a variety of ground meats, pork, chicken, turkey, lamb, whatever you're into. You can mix them together for different flavor profiles. Bison. I love getting ground bison. Chuck eye steaks or rib eyes if you're fancy. Denver steaks or sirloin for stews. Boneless or bone-in short ribs for the slow cooker. Beef roasts, a chuck roast, a tri-tip, a brisket, flank steak, skirt steak, flat iron. Just change up your cuts. And all of my books, I write recipes for all different kinds of cuts, but a lot of them are interchangeable, and I'll let you know that in the recipe. Chicken thighs, boneless, skinless for things like chicken tikka masala or stir fry or taco meat or egg roll in a bowl. Bone in if you're roasting your chicken thighs. Chicken legs are fabulous. Chicken thighs and legs are much less expensive than chicken breasts. So you can get more for your money. Chicken breasts, though, I use for my chicken parm, chicken with cherry tomato, spinach, and artichoke. The cutlets that I do pork rinds now, but you can do almond flour on the outside. But it's also kind of good if you're cooking for a mixed household. And I mean, you're doing NSNG, but nobody else in your house is. And there may be some preconceived notions about, well, we have to have chicken breasts because chicken thighs are unhealthy. But you've listened to this podcast. You've heard Vinny say, no, actually, the chicken thighs are actually quite nutritious. But you got to please the family. You can buy both. You can make recipes with both, or you can buy the chicken breast and add more fat to it, which is what I do with my chicken breast recipes. We're crossing the divide, Vinny.
Yeah.
Wings. We love wings. We just did an episode a couple weeks ago with me making wings. Pork, bacon, pork chops, tenderloin, pork belly, if it's available. We just discussed that. Pork butt or pork shoulder for your roasts. You can make carnitas, pulled pork, pork rillettes, cured salami, mortadella, prosciutto, pancetta. That will help you flavor your egg dishes, veggie dishes. You can put it in meats. Loose sausage. Sausage has the same kind of caveat that bacon does. You want to make sure you check the ingredients. Do not buy things like maple sausage or any of the really heavily flavored sausages, because they will have some weird stuff in there. Remember when we said last week, Vinny, we said pick up and read the ingredients. This also has to do with your deli meats, your bacon, your sausages. You have to pick those up and read them because they change the formulas all the time. Fish. All the fish. salmon, all the salmon, halibut, cod, branzino, which is also sea bass, shrimp, all the shrimp, scallops. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things, but that's kind of if you were to buy and keep on hand 4 to 7 days in your freezer of all those meats, you would always have something to pull out of the freezer and thaw.
Exactly.
Let's talk about vegetables and fruits. Are we supposed to have 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, Vinny?
No, not even.
I tee you up these softballs.
No. As a matter of fact, we don't know where that came from. It's just another one of those things like when Kellogg's came up with breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Yes, I do believe that you need to wake up and stoke the fire. I like eating breakfast in the morning, but not grains. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, what are we talking about?
Fruits, vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables, yeah. So 5, all right, so if you look at the pyramid, the way the pyramid used to be, on the bottom there were 11 servings of grains per day. I'm not making this up. You could go check for yourself, 11 servings. So on the second level, there's 5 servings of fruit and vegetables. Now, they don't actually say what a serving is, right? They just say 5 servings of fruit and vegetables.
Right.
Okay. Don't know what that means. But let's say a serving is one piece of fruit, say an apple. But then does that mean that one strawberry is a serving? Because those are different sizes. A cherry is much smaller than a strawberry. There's ounces added to it. So I do know this. And if I remember right, each serving of fruit is, I want to say 4 or 4.5 or 5 ounces. So if you do 5 times 5.
Seems like a lot of fruit.
Well, listen, they're telling you need 5 servings of fruit and vegetables per day. So let's do the math on that. Let's put it at 4. So 4 times 5 is 20 ounces of fruit. Think about what that is. Think about what that is just in carbohydrates, depending on the fruit. Right?
Right.
And look up the size of a normal apple. Just a regular size apple.
I will tell you, an apple is about 1 cup. If you put an apple into the 1 cup measure, it would fill it up. I know you're not eating the core, but that seems like
that's about 1 serving. That's 1 serving, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, that seems like a lot of fruit if you're eating 5 servings.
Right. And then you have to have 5 servings of vegetables. So that's another 4 or 5 ounces.
No, it's just 4 to 5 servings of fruit and vegetable. Fruit or veg, like it's both.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, let's say you
it's
don't
still a
eat.
lot.
It's still a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't imagine eating 5 pieces of fruit a day.
You would be grazing like, you ever notice a horse and a cow, they can graze and eat and shit at the same time? You would have to be doing that. Right? You would just have to sit on the toilet and just keep going because you're eating 11 servings of grains on the base and then fruits and vegetables and the whole thing. Okay. A lot of these carnivore guys will tell you, oh, fruit's out there trying to kill you. Vegetables are trying to kill you. I do not think that. I do not believe that. I think that eating low glycemic fruit is okay. It's not what I think. It's what I know. What is a low glycemic fruit? The aforementioned avocado and olive, both low glycemic fruits. Berries, cherries. So you go, berries, which ones? I said berries. That's
once
blue,
more for those in the back.
black,
again.
rasp, straw.
Berries.
I don't care which one you want.
Berries.
You go have yourself
berries.
Have yourself some berries if you want, or some cherries. Now,
cherries.
What about vegetables? Well, you want the bang for your buck vegetables, right? Yeah. You want the big bang for your buck. What are those? Well, you got your cruciferous vegetables have more phytonutrients. They're good for you. Broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, I think is in a category. Kale is in a category, but for the life of me, I don't know why anyone would eat kale. Anna has a good recipe for it. I
have a good recipe for kale chips and the kale salad. Kale and red cabbage salad is the best.
Look, I get it. She's pushing a kale salad.
Coleslaw replacement.
Yeah. my thing is, Anna, you can put them.
But I don't make a lot of it. No.
That chip recipe you have for kale, where you put the salt on it, unbelievable. I like that one. Okay, so the thing, and asparagus, which is not a cruciferous, but it's good for you. These are the things you want to eat, right? These are the starches, if you will, that you want to eat because you get some bang for your buck. It's not like
cucumbers.
Cucumbers, absolutely. People ask me all the time.
Tomatoes, olives.
I mentioned all those. Did I mention tomato earlier?
I wasn't listening.
You got to pay attention, Anna.
I tune you out after you talk for about 12 seconds.
So there you go. That's all the stuff you want to have with that.
I want to throw mushrooms in there as well.
I want to get the cheese. People go, what about cheese? Here's the thing about cheese.
Yes, people are very confused about dairy, especially because you say full-fat dairy.
Yeah.
Which luckily, by the way, when we started this podcast, do you know how hard it was to find full-fat dairy in grocery stores?
Almost impossible.
The low-fat and fat-free dairy movement had taken over America. Mm-hmm. It was gross. And we were just willfully eating it thinking we were being healthy.
All you were eating was some protein, but mostly lactose, which is a sugar.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do dairy, don't drink milk. You don't have to do that. But high-fat cheeses, just get yourself some high-fat cheeses, and you could put heavy cream in your coffee, real heavy cream, not creamer. You can have high-fat yogurts, high-fat cream cheese, this kind of thing.
Faya, Siggy's.
Yeah. But here's the deal.
Chobani.
Here's the deal. Don't overdo it with the dairy. If you notice that your weight loss is stopping, or you guys get on what you might call a plateau, the first thing you look at is the amount of dairy you're eating, and that usually fixes the problem.
I'm writing down Plateau 101.
Look at you. Ann and I are producing on the fly here. That's right. Anything else, Anna, that we need to do?
Yeah, hold on. Nuts. Talk about nuts.
Okay. High-fat nuts. So high-fat nuts are going to just be fat and protein, right? So some of the best nuts, macadamia, but you better be rich if you plan on eating macadamia. They are high in fat. Now, if you're not quite as rich, but you got a couple of bucks hanging around, walnuts and pecans are good. And then down from that, almonds. That's what we use in ultra fat. We use almonds.
Almonds are pretty readily available too. They're easier to find sometimes. Yeah. But I like your advice of buying them in the raw form as often as you can and toasting them yourself. Yeah, because if you buy them already toasted and they got sugar. Oh, and the other thing, the barbecue flavor and all this other crap. Flavored nuts. You're going to have to flavor them yourself.
No. What you do is you buy them raw. You take your Villa Capelli, or you could take beef tallow or butter or whatever, and just kind of put it on your hands and just wash it. Just rub it into the nuts. And just get a light coating of oil in there. Calm down, Anna. And then you can add salt. Now, don't use the real coarse salt. You want to get the fine salt. Sprinkle some on there. Stick. Anna Vocino has her Eat Happy dust. The barbecue dust works on there. If you want them to taste Mexican-y, you can put the taco dust on there. Sometimes I'll take Old Bay seasoning and sprinkle it on those nuts. I do them 5 or 6 different ways.
Yeah.
But it always helps.
So good. It's like so much better. When you buy the pre-roasted ones that are flavored, they're okay. But they guarantee they have something crappy in there that you don't want to be eating. And if you buy the raw nuts and do what Vinny's saying, oh my God, it's like so good.
It's night and day. It really is. So go check that out. Go do that.
If you have an issue with compulsive eating and you make the nuts, you may need to take half of what you make or even more and put them in a little bag and put them in the fridge or the pantry or whatever, because the nuts they can get easy to polish off a bunch.
You start eating them and you can't stop, and they have some carbs in them, so you want to be careful. Here's the thing. When I make them for Sunday football, the rest of them are cooling off in the kitchen. I just leave them and let them cool off. And once they're at room temperature, I put them in a bowl. I put a little saran wrap on the top and stick them in the fridge. They stay good for several days.
Yeah.
You know, don't go crazy on eating everything all the time.
I personally would put it in the pantry because if you do put it in the fridge, it might make the nut a little moist and swollen. And
it does.
But then only make enough that you think that you're going to eat. You can still freeze them, but I just with the nuts. The other thing is too, I would say with nuts and dairy. Let's say it's lunch and it's time to eat. Don't go for the nuts and the dairy. Make sure you make yourself a proper lunch.
Yeah.
You can put some nuts and dairy alongside of it, but it's like sometimes what we wind up doing is like we get kind of halfway full on nuts and dairy, and then you wind up pecking at things for the whole rest of the afternoon until dinner. Mm-hmm. So just be mindful of that. Do yourself a favor and kind of plan out your lunch a little bit, plan out your dinner a little bit to make sure that you're not snacking so much that you're punting those proper meals. Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense to me.
I love it when I make sense.
Vinny. No, it's not very often. Have we done it, Anna?
We've done it. I hope this is helpful. Please write us and tell us as such.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I don't know if I've opened up the VIP group for VinnyTorres.com/row, but I think it'll be closed by the time this comes out.
Yeah, I think this episode's coming out the end of September.
Yeah, so that's already closed.
The 30th, I believe.
I might keep it open for a week or two so that everyone gets a chance of coming in. Anna Vocino has a new book coming out called Eat Happy Italian. At this point, it's past pre-order. You can now get it.
No, it doesn't come out till October 8th.
Oh,
please pre-order.
Pre-order.
So important.
Yeah. It helps the algorithm. It helps Anna, the pre-sales, the whole thing. Go pre-order the book. You know you're going to get it anyway. You might as well pre-order it because it really makes a difference. When you're us and we don't charge for these podcasts. Anna does all the stuff for free. She's given free recipes and everything else. Please help support her by doing that. My movie is kicking ass over on Amazon, even though they made me put a PG-13 on it. Dirty Keto. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnyTorres.com, click through the banner. It puts coal on the fire, gets my train down the track. You mentioned something.
Oh, I'm sure I said something that triggered something.
And I can't remember what it was, but it made me think of this group. I can't remember what you said, but I will play a little bit of this. So on behalf of Anna Vocino, put life into living, and let's do it with one Mr. Paul McCartney and his band Wings. Yeah.
Wings
was an open book. You used to say, live and let live. You know you did. But if this ever-changing world in which we live in makes you give in and cry, say live and let die. Live and let die. Live and let die.
And if I remember right, this was in a Bond movie, right? This is a Bond song.
If I remember correctly.
Listening to Fitness Confidential. Get more information at VinnyTortorich.com. Remember to rate and review us on iTunes and follow Vinny and Anna on Instagram and Twitter.